Ah, children, some girls are born so gentle. Even the gods pause to listen when they pray. Rhea was one of them. Sweet girl. Believed that when life smiles at you, you must smile back at the divine. The morning her marriage got fixed, with her childhood sweetheart Arav, she was glowing like the sun after rain. She said, Mummy, today I'll thank every god I see, every single one. Temples, dargah, roadside idols. She said she would offer flowers to all. Her mother laughed, but Rhea only smiled. It's my ritual. For luck, for love, and forever. And so she went with a basket full of marigold, jasmines, and roses swinging at her wrist. The day was bright and kind at first. She was wearing a beautiful red cotton kurta and blue jeans, her hair flowing with the wind as she ambled down the familiar streets. At the Hanuman temple, she offered petals with a grin. At the church across the bazaar, she left a rose and whispered a prayer. At the dargah by the bus station, she watched pigeons rise like a blessing into the sky. Everywhere she went, she felt watched, but softly, like a gaze made of light. By afternoon, the roads grew quieter. Most of the shops had closed, shutters half down, their painted signs dozing in the sun. Even the wind had slowed, carrying only the lingering fragrance of incense left from the morning prayers. That was normal in the streets of Goa. Siestas obeyed, they said. The fever of the afternoon nap. Rhea tied her hair into a bun, squinting against the white heat, and walked on. Her basket felt lighter now. The flowers had begun to droop, their scent thick and sleepy. A few stray dogs slept in the doorways. A radio somewhere played old Konkani songs that wavered and died. The further she walked, the older the road became. Cracked stones, moss along the edges, vines crawling up forgotten walls. At the very end of the narrow lane, that even the sun seemed unwilling to enter, she saw it. Another small white shrine crouched beneath a massive banyan tree. Its roots hung like ropes, touching the tiled roof. The walls were blotched with green, the paint peeling in flakes, and looked almost like scales. No name, no idol, no bells, just old earthen bowl, filled with water, placed neatly at the center. The water was dark, the bottom of the bowl blackened with growth. Rhea stopped. The air here was cooler, but not pleasant, cool like the inside of a cave. A cluster of dry leaves lay at the steps, but not one moved, though she could still feel the wind at her back. She hesitated, gripping the edge of her basket. Something about the shrine didn't feel abandoned. It felt expectant. Still, she whispered, "I don't know if you are present here anymore, but every god deserves a thank you." She stepped forward to place a marigold. Her slippers crunched lightly on the dry leaves. She knelt, placing the flower in front of the bowl and bowed her head. For a moment, nothing happened. A few drops of water trickled down her back. Rhea's hands froze mid-prayer. She immediately looked up at the tree. No bird in sight. She touched the water on her back with her fingers. From somewhere within the banyan branches came a metallic clink, as if a single bell had rung far, far away. Mixed emotion flooded her mind. She was alone, in the middle of nowhere, but also believed that God had accepted her prayers. Just then, another drop fell onto her face, rolling down her cheeks. Once again, she touched it with her fingers. It wasn't water, but something darker in shade. She stood abruptly, heart thudding, her throat dry, and the lane behind her looked longer than before, stretched by shadows. She began to walk fast, then faster, until she was back under the warm sun again. But even there in the brightness, she could still hear that one tiny chime following her. That night she couldn't sleep. The air in her room felt heavier but sweeter, almost like incense, but burned for too long. She hummed to herself to forget about the day's incident. Thinking about Arav released butterflies into her stomach. With that thought, she fell asleep. Sometime after midnight, she felt the edge of her bed sink. Someone was sitting next to her. She half opened her eyes for a peek. There was a shape, dark, quiet, holding her flower basket. It whispered, "Tomorrow you'll offer him." Rhea wasn't sure if she was dreaming or not, her eyes slowly being covered by redness. The sort of red you see when excess light tries to enter through your eyelids. She woke up with a gasp to drops of water falling on her eyes. Her mother panicked and said, "Oh, Saiba, are you okay? I was calling your name, shaking your leg, but you were not waking up. So I sprinkled some water." Rhea was still breathing heavily. Okay. You go brush now, huh? You said you have to go to the Shiv Mandir today, na? Huh? Her mother chuckled and walked away. But Rhea's eyes fixated on the basket that lay by the window, empty, clean. She called Arav as she put on her shoes. She told him the details of her dream. He laughed, but the call cracked, his voice breaking mid-laughter, as if he was speaking from far. It left her with a strange ache. Before Rhea could say anything, the call disconnected. The Shiv temple was the first place she prayed for Arav when they were children. The warmth from old memories wrapped around Rhea as she walked up to it. The path from the river to the temple seemed longer than she remembered. The trees leaned closer, whispering with dry leaves. There was no crowd at the temple today, despite it being Monday. She placed her last marigold at the Shiv idol. Then she sat by the river and closed her eyes. She thought of every single memory she made with her soon-to-be husband. She kept the Lord in her mind and thanked him repeatedly, for the universe could not give her a gift greater than this. In the haze of her thoughts, she didn't realize the time had passed so swiftly. Before, as well as now, she opened her eyes, her vision falling onto her reflection, flickering beside the lamp's glow. Dusk had settled, violet sky and cold breeze. The river smelled rotten. It looked dark, blackened. In her reflection was someone standing behind her. She didn't turn. She knew that feeling. Warmth on the back of her neck, the scent of his perfume, the heartbeat she once matched her own to. Arav? She said faintly with a smile. The reflection smiled. His clothes were soaked. His eyes looked calm. He leaned closer, lips barely moving. You came so far. Just for me? Thank you. Rhea had a puzzled look on her face. To her right, next to her hand, was the last marigold she placed before the idol. Rhea turned, but there was no one behind her. Only the wind, only the chime from the bells and the river flowing with tranquility, in which now her flower bobbed. When dawn came, the priest found her basket upside down, right beside the steps. The flowers scattered around their centers, each burned to black dust. He chanted the god's name and walked into the temple. Rhea's parents had searched for her everywhere, but Rhea was never found again. A week later came the call from Arav's family. His body was found near the shrine under a banyan tree. Next to his body, they found the water bowl. The post-mortem report said Arav's time of death was Sunday afternoon, the day Rhea had placed her offering. Oh, so remember this, my dear kids. If you ever thank gods, thank them with love, but not without limits. Because sometimes some entities pretend to be God, and if you bow to them, they might take everything you ever loved.